Hello, this is Mr. Stansbury. I'm going to take you through the 8D assignment. All right, start with number 1, fully factorize. So we're going to factor each one of these things here. So on A here, first thing we always want to look at is if there's any common factors of all the terms, which there are no common factors. So now we're just going to factor what we have left. So since there's nothing we can factor out, I'm going to multiply the leading coefficient, which is the x squared term here, by the constant at the end. So I'm going to go 2 times 3 gives me 6. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up with the factors of 6. And since we multiplied this together to get a positive number here, I want to come up with the factors of 6 that add up to the middle number, which is 5. So our factors of 6 are 1 and 6 and 2 times 3. These here add up to 5. Okay, so 2 and 3 are going to be our factors. Now there's a lot of different ways you can go from here. I'm gonna try this way and see. And you can decide for yourself if you like it. So I'm gonna leave 2x squared at the beginning, and then I'm also gonna leave the 3 at the end. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the 5x and split it into 2x and 3x. So it doesn't matter which one you put where. I'm just going to put the plus 2x here and plus 3x here. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to group the first two, and I'm going to group the second two, and I'm going to always put a plus in between those. Now I'm going to try to come up with my common factors. So 2x squared and 2x both have a common factor of 2 and x. Right, so I get a 2x out, and I'm left with, when I take the 2's here, reduced down to 1, and one of the x's here reduced down, so I'm left with just x. And then the x's reduce, the 2's reduce, so I'm left with not 0, but 1. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing over here. These both have a factor of 3 in them, so I'm going to factor that 3 out. And then when I am done with that, I have an x left here. And then that just leaves us with a 1 here. Okay, so now hopefully these two terms here should match up. And they do. So then what I'm going to do basically is we have this term here and this second term here. I'm going to factor an x plus 1 out of both of those officially. So x plus 1 comes out of both of those. And I'm left with 2x plus 3. Okay, and that's the factored form of this here. Okay, if you ever wanted to double check to make sure you're right, you could simply multiply them out. X times 3 is 3x. X times 2x is 2x squared. 1 times 2x is 2x, and 1 times 3 is 3. If you add that all up, 2x squared plus 5x plus 3, that's what we started with, so we know we have that one right. Okay. All right, let's try D here. So again, nothing to factor out of all of those. So I'm going to go first by the last. So 3 times 4 is 12. And again, those are both positive. So this is a positive 12. So I want to come up with the factors of 12 that add up to 7. So 12 is 1 times 12, 2 times 6, or 3 times 4. The 3 and the 4 is what add up to 7. So I'm going to rewrite this as 3x squared plus, and again, it doesn't matter which one goes first, plus 3x plus 4x, and then plus 4 here at the end. So again, the first term stays, and the last term stays, and we're just turning the 7x into 3x plus 4x. And then now we're going to group them. Okay, so I always try to keep that sign with the second one, put a plus in between. And let's see, these both can get a 3x out of them. So that's going to be 3x on the outside. We're left with an x. And then these 3's and x's both reduce down to 1. And then these both can get a 4 out of both of those. So plus 4 times. And we're left with x plus 1. And again, notice that these two things happen to match, which is exactly what we want. So we officially factor those x plus 1's out of both of these terms, and we're left with 3x plus 4. Okay? All right, G. We're going to do 8, 14, and 3. Nothing factors out of all of those evenly, so we'll do 8 times 3, which is 24. And again, it's positive. So we want to come up with the factors of 24 that add up to 14. So there's a lot of different factors of 24, so let's just start looking. 1 times 24 doesn't work. 2 times 12 does add up to 14, so we know that those are going to be our factors. So I'm just going to rewrite this as 8x squared plus 2x plus 12x, and then plus 3 here at the end. Okay, and then group the first two, group the last two, put a plus in between them, and start seeing what common factors we have. 2x and 2x. So that leaves us with here a 4x after we factor the 2x out, and then the 2x and 2x reduces down to 1. And then let's see over here, we can get a 3 out of both of those. So that ends up being 3 times, and then that 12 over 3 gives us 4x plus 1. And again, notice how these match, which is just what we hope for. So we'll factor that 4x plus 1 out of both of these. And we're left with 4x plus 1 times 2x plus 3. Okay. And let's try the last one, J here. 6, 19, and 3. Nothing, you can factor out all those. So 6 times 3 is 18. We want to come up with the factors of 18 that add up to 19. So that's just going to be 1 times 18 are going to be the factors that add up to 19. Okay, so I'm going to leave that as 6x squared plus 1x plus 18x plus 3. Okay, group the first two terms and the last two terms, put a plus in between, and see what we have in common. Let's see, this has got a, oh, sorry, that's plus 1x. Can't even read my own handwriting. So we can really just get an x out of both of these, and we're left with 6x plus, that's just a 1, right? Yep. And then over here, 18 and 3 both have a factor of 3 in them, so I'll take a 3 out. 18 divided by 3 is 6x. Sorry, 18x divided by 3 is 6x, and then 3 over 3 is 1. These two match, so we factor the 6x plus 1 out, and we're left with x plus 3. So those are our factors. All right? Okay, let's take a look at the next one here. Number 2. Similar idea. Only thing different about these, let's see again, we first want to see if there's anything we can factor out of all of those. 2x, 2, 9, and 5. Nothing we can get out of all of those. And this one doesn't have an x, so we can't get an x out either. So now we're going to multiply the first by the last still. But this is a little different because now we have 2 times negative 5, which is negative 10. So that means I want to find the factors of 10 that have a difference of 9. Okay, and that's going to be 1 and 10. Okay, so these are the right factors because those have a difference of 9. So I'm going to write this as 2x squared still. And then now I have to get these two factors to add up to negative 9. So it has to be plus 1x and minus 10x because that adds up to negative 9. And then I put my negative 5 here on the end. Okay, now again, group the first two and the second two, put a plus in between those. These both over here have a common factor of x, so I've got to take the x out. That leaves me with 2x plus 1 here. Now over here, this is pretty important. This is where this system can break down. You got to always remember, if this leading number here has a negative, you have to factor that negative out. So even if this is positive, if this is negative over here, make sure you factor a negative out. So I'm going to factor a negative out of both of them, and then 10 and 5 both have a common factor of 5. So we're going to factor a negative 5 out of both of these. And that gives us, let's see, we're left with 2x over here, and negative 5 over negative 5 is plus 1. These two match. So we officially factor those, the 2x plus 1 out of both of those, and we're left with x minus 5. Okay. Let's see. Let's take a look at D. Nothing we can factor out of all three of those. So 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. So the factors of 4 that have a difference of 3 are going to be 4 times 1 or 1 times 4, however you want to look at it. So we're going to leave the 2x squared at the beginning, the negative 2 at the end, and then this is going to turn into, let's see, it has to be positive 3x. So that's going to be plus 4x minus 1x. Okay, group those together, put a plus in between them. These both have a common factor of 2 and x, so you factor that 2x out, and we're left with just an x here, and then 4x divided by 2x gives us 2. This, again, remember, this has a negative. The first term here has got a negative, so we have to factor that negative out. And then really the only thing they have in common is just don't have anything in common, so we're just officially factoring a negative 1 out of both of those. So that turns into negative 1 over negative 1 is 1. So there's our x, and then negative 2 divided by negative 1 is plus 2. And again, those two match. So we factor those out, x plus 2, and we're left with 2x minus 1. Okay, so those are those factors. Part G, 5, 8, and 3 don't have anything in common. So 5 times 3 is positive 15. So it's going to be the factors of 15 that add up to 8. Now I know that says negative 8. So officially it's going to add up to negative 8, but we're just going to find the factors of 15 that add up to 8 for now, and then I'll show you what we do from there. So 15 times 1 doesn't work. 5 times 3 does work. Those add up to 8. So we're going to write this as 5x squared, and then we still have the plus 3 at the end. Now these have to add up to be negative 8x, so it's going to be negative 5x and negative 3x. Okay? So we group them together, put a addition sign between the two, factor a 5x out of both of these, and we get 5x times, let's see, that leaves us with x here, and negative 5x over 5x is negative 1. This has got a negative at the beginning, so we got to make sure we get the negative out of both of those. And then they both have a factor of 3, so we're going to factor a negative 3 out of both of these. Negative 3 over negative 3 is 1, and we still have an x there. And then 3 divided by negative 3 is negative 1. And again, look how these two things match. So we're in good shape. Factor the x minus 1 out, and we're left with 5x minus 3. Okay? All right, let's take a look at the next one. Number 2. Let's see. Looking for something that they all have common factors of, which they don't. So it's just back to what we were doing before. So this is good practice. This will get us a lot to work on. So this will be good. So J, we've got, let's see, 2 times negative 9 is negative 18. So it's the factors of 18 that have a difference of 3. So 1 times 18 doesn't have a difference of 3. Let's see, 2 times 9 doesn't have a difference of 3. 3 times 6 does have a difference of 3. So it's going to be 3 and 6. So we'll leave the 2x squared at the beginning, then negative 9 at the end. These two have to add up to negative 3. So it's going to be plus 3x minus 6x. Okay, group them together. Addition sign in between. Let's see, these both have an x in common, so that's going to leave us x times 2x. 3x divided by x is plus 3. This has got a negative in front, so we got to make sure we get a negative out of both of those, and they both have a factor of 3. So we get a negative 3 out of both of those. Negative 6 divided by negative 3 is 2. And we still have the x. Negative 9 over negative 3 is plus 3. These two match, so we factor the 2x plus 3 out of both of those, and we're left with x minus 3. Okay? All right, let's do m here. Nothing to factor out of all those, so 3 times negative 8 is negative 24. So factors of 24 that have a difference of 10 is what we're looking for. So it's not 1 times 24, but 2 times 12 have a difference of 10. So those are going to be our correct factors. So we have 3x squared, we have a negative 8, and these two have to add up to positive 10. So the 12 and negative 2 will work for us. So let's do minus 2x plus 12x, group, and put an addition between the two and factor them both. These both can have a common factor of x, so that leaves us with 3x minus 2. Let's see, this leading coefficient is positive, so we can take a positive number out. They're both have common factors of 4, so plus 4. And then we have, let's see, 12 divided by 4 is 3. And we got the x, negative 8 over 4 is negative 2. These two match, so we're left with 3x minus 2 times x plus 4. That's our leftover. Okay. P. Nothing to factor out of all of those. 2 times negative 21 is negative 42. Now we're getting to bigger numbers here. So now you're going to really want to try to, we don't always have to start with 1 and 42. That's not going to obviously work, but let's try, say, 2. 2 times 21, do those have a difference of 11? Nope. How about 3? 3 times, what is that, 12? No. That would be 36. 3 times, let's see, 10, 42. So that's going to be 3 times 14, which does have a difference of 11. So those are going to be our factors. So we start with 2x squared, and we have the negative 21 at the end. And then these have to add up to positive 11, so it's going to be negative 3x and plus 14x. Okay. Group these up. These have a common factor of an x in them, so x, divide both those by x, and we're left with 2x minus 3. These both have a common factor of 7 in them, so plus 7, and that's going to be 2x minus 3 also. So factor the 2x minus 3 out of both of those, and we're left with 2x minus 3 times x plus 7 are the correct factors of those. Okay. S. 9, 12, and 4 don't have any common factors, so 9 times 4 is 36. So we got to come up with the factors of 36 that add up to 12. So it's not 36 and 1. It's not 2 and 18. What about 3 times 12 doesn't work. 4 times 9 gives us 13. 6 times 6 adds up to 12. So let's use those. Okay. So we have 9x squared and plus 4 at the end. These two have to add up to negative 12, so they're both going to be negative 6x's. Negative 6x and negative 6x. Okay. Put a plus in between. These both can get a 3x out of them. So we have 3x times, let's see, that leaves us with 3x, and then negative 6x over 3x is negative 2. And then that's got a negative at the beginning, so we got to factor a negative out of both of these. And then 6 and 4 both have a common factor of 2. So we get negative 2 times, that's going to be 3x minus 2. Those two in the parentheses match, so we factored the 3x minus 2 out, and we're left with 3x minus 2. Hey, look at that. It's the same exact thing. So we officially could write this as 3x minus 2 squared. That'd be the better way to write that. But for now, that's fine. All right. Last set of examples is number 3. Okay. So let's factorize these. Let's see, nothing to factor out of all of those. And look, the leading coefficient is 1, so this is the nice one. We just want to come up with the factors of 18 that have a difference of 7. So that's going to be, what, 9 and 2? Right? So we can just do this way. X times x, 9 and 2. We know they have to add up to -7, so it's going to be -9, +2, and we're done. How nice is that? This one here is a perfect square minus a perfect square. You can often find those if you don't have if you don't have an x term and the second one is, or one of the two is negative. So this one, let's test out, see if it'll be the nice perfect squares one. And let's see, square root of 4x squared is 2x and 2x. Square root of 49 is 7 and 7. They're going to end up getting 0x in the middle, so one's positive, one's negative. And if you multiply that out, you'll end up getting this here. So that's those factored. Let's see. C. Ooh, look, we can get a 2 out of all of these first to make our life a lot easier. I'm going to move it down here so we have enough room. So once you factor that 2 out, we are left with x squared minus 7x minus 30. And now this becomes a lot nicer because now we come up with factors of 30 that have a difference of 7. So that's going to be, what, 10 times 3 have a difference of 7? So it's going to be 2 times, and we have x and x, 10 and 3, or 3 and 10, doesn't matter. And they have to add up to -7, so that's going to be -10, +3. Don't forget the 2 out front here because that's part of the factoring. Okay. Last one, nothing we can get out of all of those, so let's go 5 times 4 is 20. We got to come up with factors of 20 that add up to 12. That's going to be, what, 10 times 2? All right, so we do 5x squared and the plus 4. And then now these are going to be 10x and 2x. They have to add up to 12, so it's just plus 10x plus 2x. And then we regroup and put an addition between those two. These can both get a 5x out of them. So we get 5x times, and then we're left with an x plus 2. And then these, we can get a 2 out of both of those, so plus 2. And then that leaves us with x plus 2 also. So then we officially factor out the x plus 2, and we're left with 5x plus 2. And there's the factors for that one. All right? Okay, that's all there is for 8D. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask in class. Thanks.